Welcome to the table, everyone. Joining me today is Age of Discovery by Alfred Victor Schulz. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought to yourself, I've got way too much money on me? You know, a lot of extra cash to burn. I wonder if there was some famous explorers I could fund to help make me the most powerful nation on Earth. Well, fortunately today, you're in luck, because Age of Discovery does exactly that. You see, in this game, you play as one of the major European powers, such as the Red Nation, the Blue Nation, the Green Nation, and of course the ever-industrious Yellow Nation. Who will emerge victorious in this race for wealth and power? That is for you to decide. So pull up a seat and join me, and let's see what we've got going on at the table today. Taking a look at the board here, kind of a lot going on, but don't worry, we're going to show you what it's all about. What you see on the board here is the two-player setup. So what that means is that every player is going to get a specific set of cards, with special action cards, a secret objective card, 2 trade contracts, 6 coins, and a colored cube to indicate the nation that you represent. In this case, I have chosen the ever ecologically friendly Green Nation. So down here, we have the scoreboard, dual-sided, from 0 to 99. On the bottom here, we have the trade contract tracker, starting at 0 and finishing at 10. We have the trade contracts, 4 on display, and a draw pile. We have our expedition cards, and this is where the majority of the scoring will be happening. We have our supply of money that we can draw from during our turns, and our ships available for purchase throughout the game that will be refreshed as ships are purchased. So you might be asking yourself, that's a lot going on the board right now, and I have no idea what any of this means. Don't worry, we've got it down pat. So, we're here to explain to you exactly what's going on right now. So in order to win, become the most powerful nation on Earth, you have to purchase ships and send them out on expeditions that will be scored during a mid and final scoring round. The points that you see on the expedition cards, which we will get to in just a little bit, will transfer into victory points that will be scored on the scoreboard. Only by achieving the highest number of victory points will you become the most powerful nation. Do you have what it takes to rule the world? Basic gameplay consists of players taking turns. A player can complete 2 of 4 potential actions. No action may be repeated. A player can take 2 coins from the bank. A player may purchase any ship from the bottom row for its appropriate coin value, either 3, 4, or 5. A player may, for 1 coin, purchase a trade contract, or send ships out onto trade contracts or out on expeditions for a cost of 1 coin per ship or 2 for your flagship. Somewhere hidden in the 3rd column is the mid-scoring round, and somewhere in the last column is the final scoring round. Average game length will be somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how fast people are purchasing ships. So you might be asking yourself, that's all well and good, you've certainly said a lot, and I haven't seen much of anything. You know what, single viewer, you are absolutely correct. There's a lot of explanation, but not a lot of showing, right? To help me demonstrate a little bit of gameplay and exactly how things operate and how some of the game mechanics work, I'd like to invite my wife Jessica to join me at the table so we can demonstrate a few player turns so you get a sense of what's happening. So Jessica, come on down and join me at the table. Hi Jessica.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me at the table today.
Hey, no problem.
Awesome. Alright, so what you're seeing right now is at the start of the game. I'll give Jessica her 6 coins because I neglected to do that earlier.
Yeah, trying to keep the poor people down, are ya?
Always. Well, when you're a wealthy nation, you don't have time for peasantry. For simplicity's sake, I'll take the first turn. You'll notice that I've got 2 trade contract cards in my hand, and I've got a little handy-dandy flagship. Now, you've noticed that there are a lot of different colors happening on either the trade contracts or the expedition cards. The colors matter in this game, either for the purposes of scoring higher points during expeditions or for sending out the appropriate ships on trade contracts. So I've got 2 trade contracts in my hand right now. One is orange and one is green, and conveniently, my flagship is actually a dual color ship that can be sent out on either one of these. You'll notice that there are a bunch of numbers on these trade contracts, and I'll show you exactly how they all work in just a second, because for my first action, of the 4 that I can do on my turn, is actually going to be sending my flagship out on a trade contract. Now, in order to use your flagship, you must pay 2 coins to the bank in order to activate it. So I'm going to do exactly that by paying my coin of 5 and then taking 3 back. Now, your flagship is unique in that you can adjust its transport value level to 1, 2, or 3, depending on how much transport value you need to either complete an expedition or to complete a trade contract. So, because my orange trade contract is a transport value of 3, I need 3 power, basically, to be able to complete the trade contract. Assign 3 green cubes to my flagship, and then I get to assign how long that trade contract lasts for. So I'm going to make it last for 3 turns by placing a green cube on the 3 in the square box and placing another green cube on top of the 8 silver coin, meaning that after 3 turns, my reward is 8 coins. So at the start of your turn, you'll just tick down that box one at a time, just so that you know how much time is left for your trade contract before it's finished. And for my second action, there isn't too much else I want to do out there, so I think I'm just going to take 2 coins from the bank like so, add that to my pile, and that's my turn.
Okay, so I'm going to take 2 coins from the bank, and I am going to purchase this ship for 4 coins, which I get 1 back.
Perfect.
At the 5.
So Jessica purchased a ship. So what happens here is you'll notice that there are the 2 rows. This ship here from the fill row is going to slide down like so. And then we take the next ship from the furthest left column to replace the top row like that. So you're always filling in the furthest left column onto your top row, and then it filters down as ships get purchased. Now remember, somewhere in this third pile is the mid-scoring round, and somewhere in this final column is the final scoring round. So just bear that in mind when you're purchasing ships, where you are. So just make sure that you're not purchasing ships too fast, or else you're going to run the game really quickly, resulting in fewer points for yourself scoring at that time. So just be careful of that.
That's my turn.
What'd you do? 2 coins from the bank and you bought a ship?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So start of my turn. Gonna tick that sucker down by 1. So now it's got 2 turns left before it's finished. And what do I want to do? Well, I don't have much that I can do right now. Taking a look at my trade contract here and the number of ships that are available to me. I really don't have a lot to do, but I am going to purchase, for 4 coins, I'm going to purchase this white ship down here and just add that to my hand, sliding that ship down and replacing it like so. And then I'll take 2 coins from the bank and add them to my supply. I know, right?
Take some money. Well, all the ships are the same color.
I know.
It doesn't
And
matter.
I shuffled this too.
Right. I will spend a lot of my money, you know, the vast majority of it, to purchase that ship. I know.
Don't mix them.
Yep.
And that's your turn?
That's all I can do.
Perfect. So I'm going to tick that down 1 more. So for my first action, I'm actually going to pay 1 coin, and I'm going to assign this white ship that I purchased earlier to an expedition like so. Now I take one of my colored cubes and I put it on top of my ship like that. Now, 2 things have happened here. I've assigned a ship to the expedition as part of my action. Now, I've indicated that with a transport value on this ship of 2, and in order to complete the expedition, it needs a total transport value of 3. So that means there's only one more available power on this expedition. So that's letting every other player know that they can assign a ship to this expedition if they want, but it cannot exceed the threshold of 3. So you can never exceed the transport value on a trade contract or on an expedition card. But that also lets every other player know that that is the color of ship that can be assigned to that expedition. So, as I mentioned earlier, that color is very important, not only for scoring, but for your trade contracts. Color matching is imperative. You cannot assign a ship that does not match the color. So, I could have easily assigned this ship to the orange contract. I would score less points, but no other player could play orange ships on this trade contract. They would only be able to play white. So the first ship played sets the color for the expedition, and you can only use the appropriate color of ship for your trade contracts. Make sense? Of course it doesn't. Don't worry, if you have any questions about that, just toss them in the comments section and I'll get back to you on it.
So, I am going to start my contract. Now, because I don't have any yellow in my hand, but I do have a ship with a power of 3, I'm going to use my
Wild ship.
wild card. So I'm going to discard that. Or do you want to throw it on the...
So the wild ship card that Jessica used is a free action. Now that's a special action that you can take during your turn, and in this case she used the wild ship card. You can change the color of any ship that you're sending out on either a trade contract or an expedition. You can change it to the appropriate color that you need. So if an opponent has a specific color locked down on an expedition card, you can then jump in with any color of ship, provided you use that card. Or if you need it like Jessica did in a pinch to get a trade contract started and you don't have the right color of ship, you can use it in a pinch like that as well.
Use them wisely, you have a very limited number.
And once they're used, they're discarded from the game. So make sure that when you do use them, you mean to use them. Now, I see a white ship down here that I want to be able to purchase on my next turn. I can't afford it right now because I've already purchased this ship and I can't repeat my actions, but I'm going to use the other special card in this game, which is the reserve card, as indicated by the block on either the ship or a trade contract. What this lets you do is place a colored cube on either a trade contract of your choice or a colored ship of your choice that's present on the board and reserve it for one whole turn. Which means no other player can purchase that card, but if you fail to purchase that trade contract or ship by the time your next turn comes around, the cube is removed and the card is effectively wasted. But at least I know that she can't buy it. A, she's too broke.
Well, not right now.
And B, I've got my cube on it, so it's mine. And what do I want to do? There's really not much on the board that I can do right now. So, for my second action will be to take 2 coins and add it to the bank.
You're stockpiling money.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to move this down 1.
See what I mean? How the game can take longer when players take their time during their turns? Love you.
Money from bank.
Of course. Now, she would have had enough to purchase this white ship, but since I reserved it, she can't buy it.
And just for the fun of it, I'm going to send a ship out.
For those of you just joining us, welcome to the table. We're playing Age of Discovery. I'm currently winning. Ish. Nothing's been scored yet, but why don't you join us in a little bit? We're going to play a few rounds here just to kind of speed the game along. Join us in the mid-scoring round, and we'll catch up with you in a little bit and let you see how that unfolds. So, stay tuned.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way, hey, up she rises.
the first scoring round. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I know that was riveting gameplay. Just be thankful you didn't have to listen to the audio commentary on that, unless I'm cruel, in which case I will have just included it while you watched us play. So I just revealed the first scoring round as indicated by this card here, which is the half-full hourglass. So that's going to get discarded from the game. Now, every other player gets to play their turn. So even though I revealed the card and I'm going to refill the row as required, I still get to finish my turn, and then every other player gets one more turn as well. So I just purchased a ship, and I think because I have no more money, and I took 2 coins from the bank, and I purchased a ship, that my turn is actually done. So you get your final turn before scoring.
So I'm going to want to send a ship out there.
This is when you're going to want to send ships out on expedition. Absolutely.
Yes. 1, 2, 3. Takes up all my money, but whatever.
Now you'll notice that there's a lot of expeditions that are not completed. That's fine. You don't have to finish expeditions to actually score. You just have to get ships out there. By completing an expedition, all you're doing is preventing other players from scoring as well. So there's a few of them that have low numbers of like transport values of 3, 4, 5 that maybe have been closed off. That just means that Jessica can't place any ships down. That's it. You score on every ship that's out here. And let's do exactly that.
Wait, did I take my second action or was that my first?
That may have been your first.
Yeah.
So before we do that,
Second action. Done.
so now we're going to go through the scoring, and in order to do so, you start with each expedition and working in order from the smallest number to the largest number and scoring all the ships on that expedition. Now you will have noticed earlier on the expedition cards that they had 2 little hourglass boxes as well as the respective pictures. So you'll see one has the half-full hourglass, and the other one has the empty top half hourglass. So that just indicates what round you're scoring. And if you look here, you will have seen 2 numbers as well, one in black and one in the color of the corresponding expedition card. That means for every ship that's assigned to that expedition that does not match the color of the expedition card, you score the black number. In this case, with this white one up here, if I placed any other ship other than white, I will have only scored 1 point. But I put a white ship down on a white expedition, so I'm actually going to score 2 points for this one, and I will score it thusly. So I take that. Ships go back to your hand to be used later on in the game, so the fleet that you build up at the start of the game is still the fleet that you use at the end of the game. And I'm going to score my 2 points thusly on the scoreboard down there, and we're going to keep moving on through the expedition card, starting with the next one. And it's just that simple. Now all the expeditions have been reset, and play continues as normal, starting with the person who revealed the scoring card, because it will have circled around the table, back to that person. But as you will have noticed, about half of the ships available for purchase now in their columns are gone. So there's not too many ships left for purchase for the game, and who knows where that elusive final scoring round card is going to be in the final column. So I don't know where it is. It has been randomly shuffled in as part of the setup earlier, so who knows where it's going to wind up. It could be the top card, or in most cases, from when we've played it at least, it's been on the very bottom or close to it. But let's keep playing and see where we wind up. I'm going to take 2 coins from the bank, and I'm going to pay 2 coins, and I'm going to send these 2 ships out on expedition. But I'm going to send them all the way down here. Because I know that Jessica played orange ships earlier, and to keep her from playing more orange ships down there, kicking me out, I'm going to put green ships down there instead. Now, as I explained earlier, I'm going to lose out on points at the end because I'm not putting orange ships on an orange expedition card, but she now has to play green ships on that. She has to follow the color of the ship that's been played on that expedition. So, all's fair in love and discovery.
No. No, absolutely not.
What we're going to do is we're going to start off with the basic scoring, which is the same thing from the mid scoring round or the first scoring round, okay? So we're still going to go through every expedition and just count up our ship points from there. The difference though is that rather than using the first column with the half-filled hourglass, we're going to use the second column with the empty top half hourglass. So that's part 1 of the scoring. Part 2. You score 1 point for every ship not on an expedition, which I do. You get 1 point for each ship. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ships currently not on expeditions. So that's going to get me another 5 points up to 80. And then here's where your secret objective comes into play. Now, we didn't explain these earlier at the startup because they weren't relevant then, but they are now. So depending on the number of players determines which cards you use. They have secret objective cards for 2-player games, 3-player games, and 4-player games. And basically what they are is special conditions that have to be met on the expedition cards based on the number of blocks indicated, and you get bonus points for each expedition that meets that objective as multiplied by the number of trade contracts completed at the bottom. If that makes no sense, that's fine. We're going to show you how this works. So for example, mine states that for each expedition that I control at least half the ships on, I'm going to score X number of victory points. So there's 4 ship icons, 2 of them are filled in, and that means that I have to control at least half. Jessica has a more difficult one. She'll score extra victory points for each expedition that she controls all the ships. So the more trade contracts you do throughout the game will increase the multiplier for the number of victory points you get. So before we count off which expeditions we've achieved our special objective for, we're going to look at the number of trade contracts we completed at the end of the game first. Now, we both completed 6, so this means that when you look at the bottom of the secret objective card, if you've completed 6 trade contracts, you're going to score 3 extra victory points for each expedition that you meet your objective on.
You have 3? Mine says 4.
But hers is harder to do, so it's worth more points. If you control the entire expedition, then it is assumed that you meet that objective as well. Now, my secret objective is I had to control at least half, so let's see how many expeditions I achieved that on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at 3 points apiece, that gives me another 15 points, bringing my whopping total to 95 points. In the event that there is a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the player who has the most number of ships not on expedition. So if Jessica and I were tied for total points, I would technically win because I have more ships in reserve on my fleet. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Age of Discovery. I lost.
Does it mean I own the world though?
Yes.